Hello and welcome to Behind the Curtain, where we examine the astrology charts of the famous and the infamous to find out what they show the world and what they hide. Francis Dunnery, and you are listening to Behind the Curtain. You might know Francis as a very famous musician, a producer, tours the world. He's sitting there looking at me like, what? But he is an incredible astrologer. I say this every single time I host this show, and unless you've experienced it, you don't get it. You simply don't get it. This isn't about you're going to have a bad day next week on a Wednesday. This is about really deep stuff that is, as he says, life-changing, and he's not kidding. So today we're going to talk about J.D. Vance. We all know J.D. Vance, politician, 50th Vice President of the United States. He's supposedly an author. I don't know. But you said he had a fascinating chart, so I'm interested to hear what he shows and what's behind the curtain.
Yeah, but I mean he's a fascinating man because he's got some great stuff behind the curtain as well. But do we want to talk about him now, or do we want to talk about the
That's
sky?
Right.
I don't know which way you want to do it.
Like, I missed 1 week and I'm out of practice. I apologize. Yes, we do want to talk about the skies.
And don't we normally do J.D. Vance after the break?
We do. This is me killing it this morning, Francis. This is me killing it.
First of all, I've been practicing astrology for 35 years, like incessantly. So if I can't do it by now, I need to be hit over the head with a stick because, when you study something for so much, you get into the deep conversation about stuff. And astrology is a deep conversation, like what most people like. Liz Green said it the best. She said, if you look at horoscope magazines, and think you know about astrology by reading horoscope pages in magazines, it's like listening to the Spice Girls and say you know about music.
Yeah.
So when you get into the Miles Davis and the Rachmaninoff and all the different, you get into it like that. It's crazy. I mean, I just did a book on financial astrology. I just put it up on Amazon. I don't know whether anybody's interested in that, but I was looking at the cycles and to see what's coming. Because I'll tell you what, I was studying the Islamic Republic, which is what I would like to talk about now if we can.
Okay.
Because their chart is the Islamic Republic was given birth to when the moon was in Taurus at 29 degrees of Taurus. And when I looked at their chart, because whenever any world events happen, I always look at charts. And I always think, well, what's going on? Is there anything? So right now, there is a planet in the astrological system called Uranus. And what Uranus symbolizes, and what it symbolizes is revolution. And this is keywords. I'm not like making this up here to fit the narrative. This is, if you go and look at the keywords, it's the freedom, the planet of freedom. It's where we buck the system. Right, so it's related to Aquarius. So remember when we talked about Pluto being in Aquarius, and now the revolution's here. It's the planet that rules Aquarius. So it's the Aquarian planet. It's the revolution planet. It's the shocking out of the blue planet. Like it just comes about. It isn't like a slow burning thing. It's like bang, and it's like all of a sudden it's on the scene. Uranus right now, right as we speak, is at 28 degrees of Taurus. The moon, which is the planet of security, the planet of belonging, the planet of, and it's also in Taurus, which is the planet of financial security, the planet of resources, the planet, is at 29 degrees of Taurus. Now, right now, as we speak in the sky, and I don't want to turn this into gibberish, but Uranus is actually retrograde, so it's going back. But on February the 6th, it starts to go forward again. And it's going to cross over. It's already having an effect now with the unease. You can see it in the world in general. You can see it in the world. It's playing havoc. But it's going to hit the Islamic Republic's moon sometime between February and March. And when that happens, that will be it. Because right now, the job isn't really done right now. You'll see like kickback. It's still processing in consciousness. And so, but when it hits on sometime, and just watch between February and March, something radical's going to happen. There's going to be, it's either the thing's going to drop, the whole regime's going to drop. It could be the entire Middle East is going to go up like that. You know, you can't really tell what it is. You just know, I know the trigger point is between February and March. Sorry, go on.
No, isn't that when Nostradamus said, like, the Third World War would start in the Middle East? Or am I, like, misquoting
Actually,
that?
I can't remember when he said. I don't know what the date was.
But there was something about the Third World War happening, and it will be triggered by something in the Middle East. So is the Islamic Republic the only, or I don't know what to call it? Is it the only part affected? I mean, everybody should be affected by that same thing, right?
Well, it's kind of a shame because how that world is. You know, a lot of people don't really, and I don't want to get political at all. This isn't political, but if I saw people doing that to women over here, I would go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anybody would. But for some weird reason, we just kind of, I don't know why, but people just allow, they're throwing acid in the faces of women, and they're like, won't let children go to school. I mean, it's a crazy thing.
Right.
It's a really wild, like, whacked out thing. So, personally speaking, this is just not as an astrologer, but just as a person, as a human, I don't want to see that happening to humans. I think it's awful. It makes me kind of sad. I've got 3 daughters. I just don't want to see that. First of all, it's to cover your hair, then it's cover your mouth, and then it's cover your face. Now it's cover your eyes.
It's like erasing identity. Exactly.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
And it's crazy what people decide to fight against, right? Like, there's all of these random things, and suddenly, but this, people ignore. They ignore. And I guess
I think
I don't know.
I think what it is because a lot of the times when if they're shouting for Palestine and stuff like that, when some people are wanting to help the people of Palestine, but I think that it just contradicts that whole narrative. So they can't really be for this, because it's normally like there's usually like an us and them. It's the us and them situation, and that can be anybody. It can be black, white. It can be Muslim, Christian, Muslim, Jews. It could be different sects of Muslims. It could be Catholics and Protestants. The us and them, that's how you keep power. You have to create the other one, otherwise you can't stay in power.
Right.
Now this is the one they're shouting for, that they're doing it. So it's like, how can they shout up for something that they're promoting? But this is that dirty underbelly of, when you get systems like that, you find out that there's a really sinister underbelly to the whole thing. But so as a human being, void of politics, just as a human being, Persia was I studied Persian. Well, let me just say this. One of my favorite poets, actually, is Jalaluddin Rumi, who was a Sufi poet. He was such a beautiful poetry. And so the Persian culture in itself is rich. It isn't Muslim at all. They have their own thing. They were conquered by Islamists. They were conquered. And they were put into kind of that slavery like that. People think they're just naturally Muslim. They weren't. And of course, through years, so over the last 40, 50 years, since that regime took over, it's been very difficult for the females. It's been awful, actually. And so I hope, personally speaking, this is not about politics, this is about you just being a human. I hope we can get those poor girls to just get away out of that brutality. I mean, it just makes me sick to my stomach. It's like watching animals get butchered or like smashed, and it's just a weird thing.
Yeah.
So like I just don't want to live in that. That's just not. So that's a personal thing for me. But politics, I don't know what the politics is. There's usually some money involved behind there and power. That's So but I don't know about that. But I think and I think the trigger of Uranus on the moon of the Islamic Republic, it's gonna be tough to keep that intact after that.
That's going to be interesting to watch then.
But also, here's another one. Also in their 4th house, which is their home, they have Saturn in their 4th house right now, in Aries. So it's gone off. And also they have Neptune in there right now. So it's a religious war. It's probably going to be a religious war. And but it's gone off, and you won't stop it because it's consciousness. See, it's like when I study the stock market. I don't do the stock market, but what I study the herd stampede.
Mm-hmm.
I study the shoal mentality. I can see what the shoal's going to do. I can see on the Iran's chart, I can see the shoal, the herd, the flock. I can see which way it's going to go, and how it's going to be. There's like weird triggers, like when Saturn goes into Cancer, people start buying real estate because they feel insecure and they want something solid under their feet. And it's predictable. It's not. I'm not like making it up. So there's going to be a huge reset in February when Saturn and Neptune both go at 0 degrees of Aries. So when you see a 0-degree planet, it means it's shifting zeitgeist. It's shifting the theme. It's like a new series now. So it's been in Pisces for ages, and now it's about to go. Saturn's about to go. So there's a new theme coming on the block, and there's going to be a reset. I even said that with the stock market. So there's going to be the last time it did it was 36 years ago, and there was a sharp drop off with the stocks. Like exactly when it did it, and it wasn't a polite thing. It was like right off. It just like went off a cliff. Mm-hmm. It recovered the month after. So I'm looking at that and I'm going, well, on February the 20th, I think it is, there's going to be, that thing's going to happen. And I'm watching, I'm as interested as anybody else to see if that's what's going to happen. Because I haven't really been wrong so far about the predictions, the mass predictions about the revolution in 2020 and all that stuff. So it'd be real interesting to see if it happens to the stock market. This is my first stock market book that I've done.
Yeah, so I actually bought it. I don't do the stock market. Yeah, I did. Yeah, because I want to see what you have to say about it.
Well, have a look at it.
I don't know that I follow the stock, or I won't get too much into my personal stuff, but I'm interested. I'll just say I'm interested.
It's pretty it's an interesting thing. It is, and so to watch that. So that's what's in the sky right now, and we're all in that, and we're part of it, and we're fueling it, and we're, and it's always the best thing to do is to draw your individuality. Don't lose your individual self, because once you get taken over by the collective, you used to see it in England with the football violence. You'd have people like bankers, like these banker guys who were just like nice people who had a Sunday lunch and they took their kids to the swings in the park, and all of a sudden they were in a football, and the hooligan, the mass psychology of the hooligan element, they'd start running and smashing cars up. These just because you get taken over. Yeah. By the mass consciousness, yeah. like it takes you over, and this is why the woke movement or the any radical left or right or it takes over the consciousness, and you attach yourself to it, and it's like a glue that you can't get out of, and you lose your individual self in that.
Yeah,
and you have no choice anymore because you're just governed by these patterns.
Yeah, it's like this auric connection, and everybody just like moves with the flow of it, and everybody.
That's it. It's like the showman, and so the stock, and we're all governed by that. The stock market does it. The football hooligans do it. The woke do it. The government do it. Something comes. You see those movements like like George Floyd movement, and all of a sudden the whole thing, like there's a whole part of the flock starts doing that, and they haven't got their own thoughts anymore.
Right. Right.
They're not actually thinking their own thoughts. It's this overwhelming urge that you're possessed by a collective psychology. Jung studied this like to an unbelievable depth, and he, which is where I get all my stuff from, like reading, Jung's work on collective psychology is it hasn't been. It's unbelievable, like what he said. It's insane. It's just brilliant. But he said the same thing. If you can't become individuated, then you won't have your own thoughts and you won't have your own choices. To be an individual, to sit, you're first and foremost, the biggest minority on the planet, if you want to fight for minority rights, is the individual.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nobody more minority than that.
Well, the whole system is geared for us not to have that quiet time, not to be apart from the herd, right? And so people I think they don't take enough time to figure out who they are before they join the herd, Well,
they get yes, you're absolutely bang on, you're spot on. And they don't, they don't have their own thoughts, and so you can't really get your own thoughts if you're part of a herd.
Yeah.
You just can't, because you're just running brainwashed with a herd.
That's exactly true. We're going to have to stop this part of the conversation here from our sponsors because I want to leave enough time to know what's behind the curtain on J.D. Vance. So this is Behind the Curtain. I'm Donna Saul. I'm with Francis Dunnery, and we're going to be right back. Welcome back to Behind the Curtain. I'm Donna Saul with the extraordinary astrologer Francis Dunnery. Because people don't have a compare contrast for you, Francis, they don't know what they're missing. So you can book him at francisdunneryastro.com. And we're talking now about J.D. Vance. So he is a politician and author, the 50th Vice President of the United States. And I can't wait to see what's behind the curtain.
Well, he's a fascinating study, this guy. This is probably the best one we've done, but he's very complex. I'll have to talk fast because there's so much stuff going on. First of all, he's got the moon in Libra, right, which means that he's not in terms of his emotional security. He's not looking for trouble. He's looking to appease, and he's looking to appease his mother because he's got the Pluto moon. So this is a guy who's never safe. He's never been safe, this guy, all his life. And so he's got and I've got Pluto moon too, so I understand, he has my kind of understanding right from day one. Pluto moon is brutal. You have to give up the dream of mother. Mother's not coming. If you've got Pluto moon, she's not coming, and we have these dreams that one day somebody will come and take care of us. It ain't happening. And it ain't happening for him either. He's got the Pluto moon. And it's a brutal placement that the guy is polite because he's standing trying to appease his mother 24 hours a day. There'll be some story connected with him if I can keep her happy, then I'll be safe. And the weird twist on the Pluto moon is that we learn that danger becomes our mother. So when I'm driving through the snow in the car and it's like a foot of snow, there's something exhilarating about it. I feel comfortable in it. It's a weird thing. And I keep putting myself at risk all the time. Unconsciously, of course. I don't realize it until a week after, and I'm going dude, I've done the moon again. What am I doing? But it's a weird thing danger has become my mother. And he's the same. So he was never safe. He's got a dangerous feminine. So he's feminine. He's frighteningly powerful in his life, this guy. And he's appeasing. He has an appeasing way. This is his feminine. His other parts aren't. I'll talk about that in a second. But his feminine is an appeasing feminine. So you'll see that he knows how to manipulate and knows how to be with people. He's a great people person. This guy can make you feel good, and he can fit in really well. He could go into a rugby club, or he could go into a highfalutin kind of financial. He'd know exactly where to go and how to fit in to manipulate his security in any situation, because that's what I can do. Wow. I'm brilliant at it. You can put me anywhere. You can put me with a boxer. You can put me. I know unconsciously I just can manipulate my way around the world like that. Mm-hmm. But he's brilliant at that. And so that's what he's always looking to see what he's got. What what his resources are. He has to, because he's got no mother. I don't know whether his mother's alive or not. I don't know, but even if she was, and she was an apple pie mother he's still under threat. This guy's under threat. He's got a gun on his head 24/7. So and so when he does that nice thing, have a look at him. He's really nice. He's a nice, he's appealing, but he's doing it as a part of him, a manipulative in order to. He's standing in front of his mother 24 hours a day. Did you ever see that Woody Allen film where his mother was in the sky? Mm-mm. I think it was New York Stories or something like that. His gigantic mother was in the sky. It was genius. And it's because that's how it is for J.D. Vance. He's got a giant mother in the sky.
Well, she's alive. I just looked it up. She's alive.
She's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's even worse.
But she's dangerous. She might have beaten him or something. There was somewhere that he was frightened of her, or somewhere he had to keep her happy. Put it that way.
All right.
So I don't know what the story is, but that's it. Now, he's a Leo with Venus in Leo, so this is his male, so he's masculine. He's very fond of himself, his old J.D. Vance. He definitely thinks he's like the bomb. You know what I mean? Like, he's loving it up. He's like, of course, it's me. You know, it's me and me and me and I and me. And so those two work in harmony. He's got that moon that's brilliant. You know, you wouldn't understand his narcissism, but he's actually very fond of himself in a good way. You know, it isn't like, I don't mean it as a negative thing, but he might be, not that he might be, he is very narcissistic. But it doesn't necessarily, you know, like, he's probably going to be president, I would say. You know, because he's got the chart of like somebody like Alexander the Great or something like that, who's also a Leo. You know, they kept him in so that he would come out as a Leo.
No.
They wouldn't let him be born. Yeah, they wouldn't let him be born as a Cancer. That's a whole other story.
Serious?
I'll tell you about that again.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
So, I'm sorry for talking so fast on it.
No,
so
good. We got you. Go ahead.
And so he's very fond of himself. He has that natural leadership qualities. But now this is where he's devastating. He's got Mercury in Virgo. This guy knows how to put things in order. Like, he knows how to fix stuff. Like, he's brilliant at it. Like that Virgo thing of refining things. He can refine anything. And more importantly, himself and how he presents himself. That's what he's mostly important with. How do I refine myself, right? Because he's got the Leo thing, so that I can look more presidential. So he's got it down. He's got it down to a T. He looks, you know, and he talks. He's very confident in his talking. But when do you hear what's behind the curtain in a second? His father probably wasn't there, or he's emotionally detached because he's got Uranus in the 4th house, the Aquarian planet. So he was detached from his father, or his father was a nut job, you know, like it was crazy, or his father just wasn't there. Mm-hmm. Now, my son is born with Uranus in the 4th house, and so that's the father house. And so my son, I appear to my son as a maverick, as a real revolutionary, as somebody. I'm not like the other fathers in the school.
But you're not, Francis.
But my son likes that, you know. So I don't know what the story again with JD's father is, and it's probably religious. There's a religious element to that, so he could have had a religious father, or he could have had some kind of like. I don't know, it would be connected, or it's connected with the meaning of his life. Now, let's go to behind the curtain, because we're going to run out of time. Here's the thing. This guy can speak like nobody's business. This guy, he's got Saturn in the 3rd house in Scorpio. This guy's terrified of looking stupid. He thinks he's an idiot. This is what's behind the curtain. He's probably got speech defects. He's probably trying to overcompensate all the time because he thinks behind the curtain he's an idiot, and he's going to get found out. They're going to find him out. And so he's a detective. This guy. He's always trying to. He's like 8 steps beyond anybody. He's always trying to outsmart people. Like, if you look, they did a meme of him where he had a kind of curly hair and they looked stupid, and he went on and put the curly hair on for his Christmas photograph. So it neutralized them making fun of him, because he did it. He went along with. He realized he's sharp like that. He's scorpionic like that. He realizes what it takes to get him out of the firing line like that, so he can't be attacked. But this is a guy who thinks he's stupid. So sometimes it's speech defects, sometimes it's dyslexia, sometimes it's clumsiness, sometimes it's 5 doctorates from Harvard, which is the way he went, I think, to try and prove that he's not stupid.
Wow.
That's what Saturn does. That's what Saturn in the 3rd house does. And he's got Saturn in Scorpio, so it's gonna be hard to really communicate with him, because he's defensive from day one with his Saturn in Scorpio. It's hard, and I don't mean this like they're wrong or anything. It's just very disturbing for them to let anybody in. So what you see is you're always seeing the crust, the outer layer of who he is. Who he is on the inside would be really, really interesting to go and have a conversation with that. Because I don't think he would even admit that. He probably knows it's somewhere deep within himself. Mm-hmm. But he spends most of his time trying to avoid looking stupid. So he's well rehearsed. He knows what he's talking about. He's got the systems down. But behind it all, he's frightened of getting found out.
Do you think he knows? Do you think he knows that, or are you saying?
Totally will. Totally will. Like my daughter's got it. Elsie, she's a genius. She's literally a genius. And I honest to God, I'm not joking. She's 2 years ahead in her school. They've got it in classes 2 years ahead. It's ridiculous. I don't know where that come from, because I'm not like that. But she's absolutely, but because she can't not be.
Yeah.
Because she thinks she's stupid.
She does? Okay, so so he thinks he's... Okay, so he knows it. Okay, I misunderstood what you said then. So
it's because they try to cover it up. So if I say to Elsie, there's a guitar player called Les Paul back in, she goes, yeah, I know. Because she doesn't know, but she can't not know.
Interesting. So he has all this stuff. Go ahead. Sorry.
She's driven by that. You see, most of the time when we cover up our weaknesses like that, by blaming other people, we get surrounded by who we think we are, not who we are. Like, I'm driven 18 hours a day to work because somewhere in me think I'm lazy. That's what drives me on, and then I get surrounded by lazy people. I go, you're lazy, because I think somewhere in me that's a weakness in myself, that I could possibly be lazy. And so we get surrounded by our unconscious fears of who we think where we're weak. And they show up around us, and then we blame them for it. Like, we were surrounded by what we believe, not what is weak in ourselves, what we think is weak in ourselves. You see what I mean? Like, there's a big difference. Well, I'm not actually lazy, but I fear that I could be lazy, and so I see lazy people around me. If that makes sense. So in the way the unconscious works like that, he's terrified of... he's a detective, this guy. He's an absolute detective, and he probably would be an author, like you said, so that he can prove he's not stupid.
Right.
But it will all come from there. It'll all come from him trying to cover up he's not stupid. And the last thing I'll tell you is he's got a really optimistic front, and that glass is half full with JD, and he wants to transmit that. He's a big shiny sunflower. Like, no matter what his politics are or anything like that, he definitely, like, he's not pretending that. Like, he's definitely, it's going to be fantastic, we're all going to win, and we're going to be the biggest, he's got that thing going on as well. So I would say he's not a mean guy. I wouldn't put him, like, his weakness, like the poor guy's trying to recover from his story with his mother. I'll have to look that up to see what it is. But there's a story with his mother that he's trying to cover up. Or trying to get over, and he's trying to appease people's... It's almost like you have to keep everybody happy, otherwise that thing your mother did's going to show up. Kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe she was one of those overbearing mothers,
It could be that. It could be like she beat him. I don't know what it is. We'll have a look.
I'll be doing a deep dive on Google after this show. And then I'll be texting you going, here it is. This is it. This is fascinating. I love this. I so love this. We are out of time, I believe. Right, Shai? We're out of time. So we're going to say goodbye. We're going to get the podcast up after the show. I'm Donna Saul with the extraordinary astrologer Francis Dunnery. Thank you for doing this. You can book him at francisdunneryastro.com. And we're going to be back next week with somebody else. We'll figure that out between now and then. You've been listening to Behind the Curtain. We'll see you next week.
I can hear you.